Good morning, fam. I thought I'd give you a proper timeline, the whole story of what's been happening with charity from start to finish, so y'all can get a better understanding of why we're in dire straits, what the GoFundMe is all about, why I'm so angry nowadays, and you know, any updates that I need to squeeze in. I initially did a video about 5 months ago, but I think with my newfound knowledge, there are a lot of holes that I can fill in my stories that I didn't know prior to. So, let's go back to December 8th. December 8th, I believe, I'm pretty sure, is the day that my wife, Charity, some of y'all call Heaven, her brother, supposedly, allegedly, OD'd. Now, I personally don't believe that. I think someone killed him. Probably the PO. Somebody the PO knows. Probably a police officer. We don't know. Because he was a big-time drug lord. Like, he was the weight man. He was the gorilla in the room. Okay? And he followed all the laws when it came to dealing drugs. Don't get high on your own supply. Right? He left behind a woman by the name of Gina, who her and her family are all like build a bitch factory, excuse my language. Great value Kardashian females. They disrupted and caused so many problems for him, or at least during his life, but then afterwards. When Charity found out, she flew up there, and she was up there for a week, and Gina caused problems with, where is, where the locations of different things were going to be, played around way too much in that aspect. The Charity had a hard time trying to navigate through New York, which we argued about going together, and I let her win that argument. One of my greatest failures of all time. If I would have argued more, she'd still be alive. That is truth. That's my truth, and no one's going to take that from me. It's, oh, it's not your fault. No, it's my fault, because I should have argued more. I said I wanted to go. She probably thought I wanted to go for pleasure, to play around or something. I don't know. But I didn't push it past a certain part of the argument that, some guys, you just kind of let go. So she flew up there herself, like I said. And on the 15th, they finally buried him. Gina and her family ruined the wake. They ruined the burial. And she kept pressing B, or Christopher's son, about where any of the remaining money has been hidden. She's been doing that from ever since then that I've heard. The Charity called me on the 16th. That early morning, I had just went out with the fellas, and for one, I let the sun beat me home. But I was like, she ain't home. I just wanted to sleep wherever the hell we were. I forgot. I think we went to a hotel. We went out, just doing whatever guys do. And I just figured, hell, no, it wasn't a hotel. No, one of the buddies lived there. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I passed out. I woke up the next morning. She's talking to me on the phone. And I wasn't giving her 100% of my attention. It's still early. Okay. I'm a little frustrated. But I just assumed, part of me said, yo, she got this. When she comes home, we'll talk fully. And as a husband, I feel like I missed an opportunity to really let her mind at ease. I didn't know that her mind was so heavy. Because she never liked to tell me. But I listened. It wasn't like I was just blowing her off. But I feel like I could have done more. And that morning she talked. She says, I love you, baby. I still got the text messages. She got on the plane, and we, in the Christmas spirit, me and the girls, we hop into the car around 8 o'clock that night, and we circled around one time. That's odd. She's never late. You know what I'm saying? She comes out of the airport. She's there. We ready. So I circle around the second time. Get ready to circle around the second time at MCO. I got a call that I thought might have been her cousin playing or something like that, and it said, "Your wife had an emergency. She had a stroke, and she's here at Rex Hospital." I hang up. I hang up because, again, it sounded like one of her cousins. We could have been just playing around. I'm sorry. And they called back. And they called, and they told me to run, they gave me the rundown. I said, wow, my heart dropped. And I'm telling, it's on speakerphone, and I got to turn around to the girls and say, hey, y'all know the rules. All right, solve for X, solve the problem first, cry later. Let's figure this out. You know, as I'm telling them, you know, before they hang up the phone, I said, don't turn off Charity's phone. They turned Charity's phone off. There's valuable information in that phone. Valuable information everywhere. Charity held most of the secrets to the household. Passwords, stuff like that. So I take a flight. You know, her best friend helped pay for a flight, used her points for me. That girl, she's a good. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't trust a lot of white folks. You know what I'm saying? You got to prove that you're not trying to endanger my family. And this woman, Megan, I love you. Megan, you've done a remarkable job as a friend. That's why when you out enjoying your life, I want you to have the best, live your best life while you got it and do all the stuff. I have no ill will. I want you to go out and have a blast. Do that. Because you've done your part. More of her to come. So I get the flight, I go up there, and I don't adhere to my wife's wishes. Okay? She told me, when you get to the airport, get there 3 hours early. 2 hours early, whatever the hell. I get there with just enough time to run to my flight, and they done closed the damn plane. They closed up everything. I am late. Luckily enough, I said there was another flight taking off in about 10, 15 minutes. So I had to run all the way to the other side of the airport, get on, and that's when I realized they were stopping in Tennessee first before. So I got to ride from Orlando to Tennessee to North Carolina. Oh yeah, one thing I told them on the phone before they hung up, I'm sorry. I said, there's Duke and there's UNC. You can pick one. I've never heard of Rex. That's probably why he turned off the phone, but who knows? So they sent her to the University of North Carolina. I get up there. There's this place called the Secu House. Okay, Secu House is just like here in Orlando and a lot of cities with a major hospital. They have a place where the families can stay. You know, and it was like initially I heard it was like $30 a night or some shit like that, and I'm like, I don't have that kind of money. I don't, because I'm gonna be here for a long time. I'm gonna be here for a month. You 30 times 30, you do the math. Okay. So, you know, my job paid me the whole month. You know, no problems. I have to pay it back because we know why. Anyway, but I get up there and Charity is very critical condition. They have us hooked up to this internal cranial pressure, ICP machine, and they're trying to pump the blood out of her brain. Apparently, she had a full-blown stroke, a hemorrhaging stroke, which means she stressed out so bad that her blood pressure went through the roof and caused her temperature to spike and caused everything else to go haywire and burst the ventricles in her brain. And the baby began to bleed, and doctors said that the flight attendants told her, told them that she, when all this was happening, she said, "I can't see out of my right eye," and then she felt unresponsive on the plane. So that emergency landing was very much needed, and it happened in North Carolina. And we're at UNC, and I'm talking to the doctors, and she's doing pretty good, day by day. You know, night after night, I'm in the shower because there's a handicap shower, the big as hell. I'm literally cursing out God, the ancestors, Dad, her mom, her mother-in-law who died the year before, just the year before, actually earlier that year. Because I look at all of these individuals, these people are people who are supposed to guide you. I am a avid, I have a lot of respect, and the ancestors. I believe in the ancestors. I believe in my dad guides me, even, he's not physically here. And same thing with Carmen, her mother. But I am no fool to say that, maybe this is part of what God's allowing things to happen. So while I'm no Christian, I'm no fool either. So I'm praying to everything, and talking and cussing out everything. But by day, I'm by her side every single day, hoping that she continues to respond. And at one point, they start moving the ICP machine from 0 to 5 to 10 to 15. And what that means is how much of the, how much pressure are they, how much are they closing off from the brain? It's like a dam. If it's 0, the dam's wide open and the blood is flushing out. Because a lot of it was in there. But over time, they have to try to see if the brain can balance itself out and doesn't go too far over, 1920 as far as internal cranial pressure. They got up to 15 within 4 days. My wife's a beast. When she wants to recover, she wants to do things, she's going to do it. But she's also she's an overachiever, and that turns around and hurts her on the back end. She end up being mad sleepy, or, she's just tired. A lot of things happen because she pushes so hard. So I told them that, and I said, stay at 15 for a few days. Let her rest, let her body get the energy, and then go to 20. Don't you know they went 20 the next day, and she felt unresponsive? That was on you, UNC. Don't you know I cursed out every doctor the next day? Every doctor, why the fuck did this happen? Eventually they apologized, and they had to start the process all over. She passed whatever necessary tests. They put a shunt into her brain to bleed, if she ever gets to that level again, she can drop the fluid into her stomach. That was one of the major first surgeries that I've seen. Over time, that she was on a breathing machine. They had to put her on a breathing machine. They had to put a feeding tube or a peg or whatever. And they even had a bed. They had a machine that you connect to this air bed that keeps the whole bed cool. Florida Hospital or Orlando Regional didn't have any of that for her. That's neither here nor there. They kept pushing me to say, hey, take her to Wake Med, take her to Wake Med. She needs to go to Wake Med. She needs to go to Wake Med. She's getting to a point where she might be stable on her own, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm in the mindset of, like, I want to bring her home. I want to be able to see her every day. No, I don't want her to go to Wake Med. But a $3,333 bill to drive her from, North Carolina to Orlando was out of my budget. So was the higher end $70,000. Did you know it's $70,000 to get a helicopter, and it's like the best. It's like this. It doesn't bump. It doesn't move apparently, and to fly you for like what, an hour, 2 hours maybe in a helicopter. I don't know. I didn't have that money, so she had to go to Wake Med. It wasn't a bad choice, though. I can tell you that much. She ended up... Why did my camera keep doing this? I'm having a problem with my camera here. Before she left, they kept putting things in her trach. Like, they had a purple cap to help them. And by the way, whoever made that little purple cap for the trach, you guys, he's a billionaire. He or she's a billionaire. And they are excellent because it allows them to talk. First thing that came out of her mouth was, "I love you too, baby." And then she puts up her finger, middle finger, and she says, "Stop being a bitch." Because every time she saw me, I'm crying. Or I'm angry. And I'm trying to be as happy as I can now. But I knew hearing that my baby was in there. She's ready for growth. Let's get her where she gotta go. So she goes to Wake Med. And it was just fantastic. It has a nice hotel in there. Like, the family can rent out an actual hospital room, which turns into a bed, which is actually a hotel room. It's really, really nice. And they kept giving me the mad discounts. They had to. I couldn't afford it. I live in in Orlando, and I had to fly up every 2 weeks. So they gave me like half off the patient, cost, which is great. There'll be days I bring a PlayStation up there to pass the time, but they were taking very good care of her. Every 2 weeks, every time I go up there, you will see that same machine blowing air under her mattress so she stays cool. And then there's a fan, and the trach is out now, and and she's eating. They're feeding her by her mouth, and hell, she's even feeding herself. And there's a lot of progress. Now they have the occupational therapist, the physical therapist, and the speech therapist there every day. So I'm told every day to do, as much therapy while she's still in the bed as possible. But she was not in the physical therapy program yet, which means she didn't get the heavy duty stuff. She had people to come to her bed to talk, to move her fingers and her arms and stuff. The whole left side of her body was slumped. That's what happened. She had a brain bleed on the right side of the brain. So the whole left side was damaged. Now, over time, I saw her move her arm and then move her leg. That just because she got the strength and energy back in those places. But she still had dramatic foot drop, and her hand would be crushed up and under her breast. And her job was to ease that up before she got into therapy. Things were going great. We had a Valentine's Day up there. It was lovely. Here's the downside to that. What happened was, and I didn't know until later, 33 days in, I get a call from the lady, our liaison, who was telling us what was up and what's going on. And she tells me that she finds out that Cigna has been charging them, or whatever she said, how she said it, that those first 33 days, she's been charged for physical therapy already. Although she's been in an acute setting the entire time. So she only has 27 days left, and they push her into the program, and they move her to another floor, and she's hardcore moving and trying to. By day 25, you can see my wife sitting in her Cadillac of a wheelchair, and she could pull herself. You say, "Charity, come sit next to me." She could, little by little, and it takes maybe 20 minutes, but pull herself onto the sliding board and onto the bed. And they told me if they had a whole 60 days, would have turned into her walking with a walker or a cane if they had the time. So now I'm furious about that, but I can't do anything about it at the time. I have too much. I have to hurry up and figure out how to get her home. So the plan ended up being that Cigna had to boot us out of the hospital because they weren't paying for it anymore. And I find out that that was a billing error. That's the only thing that could be. You don't, insurance companies don't bill you, bill the hospital bills them. And if you send the wrong codes, then that's what I believe. Someone sent the wrong IC9, ICD-10 codes to their insurance company. And so she missed out on a primo opportunity to get better. I think about it now, and Now I have a lawyer on the case now dealing with all of that, because I believe that because of those 33 days that were missed, they are directly linked to why she's almost motionless now and doesn't speak now. So they used their emergency vehicles to get her to the airport. We had to get a special flight for us, for Southwest, and her best friend came. Again, that's Megan. That's Megan part 2, right? There were some times where I couldn't afford a flight, so Megan part 3, I don't know. But she shows up. She's, we're in the middle. Charity's in the middle or something of that sort. I can't remember. No. She was on the outside. And I had to go pay out of my pocket for an emergency vehicle to pick her up from the airport to take her to my house. I had already paid for a stair chair, which is what they use, EMS and firefighters use to get you out of your house if you can't walk. And I had her cousin and a buddy show up to help me lift her up to the second floor of our apartment, put her on a Hoyer lift to put her in the bed. She was there for 5 days. In that bed, she was eating. She was doing well. And then this is a Thursday. The following Monday, she locks up completely. She doesn't want food. She doesn't do anything. Okay. Something went terribly wrong, and we couldn't figure out what was going on. Mind you, she had a Foley catheter in since the day she left. And then I come home from a double shift, and I call the girls, and I check them. I go in for a double shift. Halfway through my shift, I check with the girls and say, "Hey, girls, what's going on?" She's still locked up. She won't take her medicine. She's staring out into into space. And I said, "Check her bag." And sure enough, her bag was dark, very dark. I said, "She has a UTI." Oh my God! Now I know the power of a UTI. Guys, y'all just don't know. If you're a guy, you got to really hear this out. When a woman has a UTI, it's not always because she's dirty. There are things, the pH balances that are off because of things she eats, or maybe she washes with the wrong soap. In this case, Charity washes with the wrong soap. But, in her Charity's case, she has to wash with a specific type of soap. But in this case, she had a Foley catheter in for 5 days, something that should have been out, because a home health aide was supposed to be there within 2. So the home health aide calls me Tuesday evening around 6 o'clock, says, "I'm having a hard time finding your house. Can you lead me there?" I said, "Stay lost. I hope you never find my house." And I hung up, because 30 minutes prior, I'd already called the ambulance to take Charity to the hospital. They take her to Florida Hospital, and they figure out what's going on. They clear up the UTI. Then they find out that she has kidney stones. So they had to do 4 different surgeries to break down the kidney stones, then get them out because the doctor was incompetent. The surgeon was incompetent. Anyway, then they found out her gallbladder was enlarged. And that was one of the points where she's back in the bed now, and she's squeezing every 20 minutes. She looks like she's hurting. And I'm like, what is going on? My wife had to figure it out, put 2 and 2 together. The doctor comes in with his little slew of people. And I tell him, "Doc, she's in pain. Look at her face." He goes, "Oh, it's just from the surgery or her back." "Charity, is it your back?" I said, "No, she's constipated." He looked at me and he walked out. He didn't say a word. He walked the fuck out of the room. And in my mind, I'm thinking, tonight at 9, angry black man throws bedpan against doctor's head. I didn't do it, but I did tell him. I went back out there and said, "Listen, I don't have a student loan bill of $500,000, okay? But I'm not a dummy. She's constipated because she's been sweating out all her fluids. And when you sweat out everything and there's no fluid left even in the bowels, she's going to have a hard time pooping. Y'all need to give her a stronger IV, give her an IV, and give her a suppository." And sure enough, within a day, she plastered the entire bed. That's neither here nor there. But because her job insurance ran out on the 30th of March, earlier that month, all that hospital stay went towards Cigna. However, she was insuranceless. So I had to put her on my insurance. Cost me $300 every 2 weeks. She had more. Now she has United Healthcare. And I figured, hey, now that she's okay, let's put her in inpatient rehab. She was rejected by 45 different inpatient rehab centers, including Florida hospitals. And a lot of people would say, oh, it's because of her age, or a few would say because of her activity level, which had decreased by then because I think she finally remembered. Over time, she would ask about her mom and her brother, and I would tell her, like, they're both dead. Like, I would be kind, and she would be like, really? Oh. Okay. And then that's it. But in Florida hospital, she remembered. And I believe that's when the depression started kicking in. She remembered that her mom got hit by a car after living 70 years in New York with no problems. She comes in, she gets hit by a car trying to cross the street. Her brother ODs. One thing that a lot of people I've seen during this whole process so far, yeah, they'll get a neurologist in there, but no one gets a psychiatrist in there. For some reason, they overlook that. And so I find out later on that because I have a $4,500 deductible, with her being new on the plan, nobody, and I can't afford it, nobody wanted to accept her in an inpatient rehab. How is this possible? This is the worst piece of shit ever. Okay? So she was forced to come home. We had to do the same process all over again. This time we had help to get her upstairs. And she was eating her oatmeal the next day, and the next day she would laugh, and, you know, weird laugh that she would do. And then I find out, then she starts shaking on day 3. Why is my camera doing this? It's so whack. On day 3, she starts shaking. I go and take my daughter to work and come back and realize my other daughter told me that she was shaking more, but it calmed down. I'm like, Lord, don't let this be a seizure. I called the ambulance. And I said, do not take her to Florida Hospital. Take her to Orlando Regional Medical Center now. Hospital had a hard time finding her when we showed up because they put her in as Charity Baez and not Lewis. And the nurse assumed that she would be black. So she went back there looking for a black woman by the name of Charity Baez. Thanks, RMC. So they did all the tests, find out that there were no seizures. But she's also not in the best sense of sorts. Okay, we're probably in May at this point. Late May, early June, something like that. And they try every test they can think of why her temperature goes up on certain days. And, you know, we see that window of her getting inpatient rehab closed little by little. And so is her activity level dropping little by little. And I'm able now I'm finally recording her talking because I'm telling the doctor she talks. It just depends on who she's talking to. They don't want to hear that shit. Little by little, she stopped talking. She stopped doing the Simon Says. She stopped doing hand hugs. She stopped doing a lot of things. And now she only blinks. Well, blink twice if this happens. Blink once if this is it. She can understand and comprehend, but it's to a level where it feels like it's barely getting in there. And the household, the bills have been, you know, her long-term disability stopped with the specific insurance company because I don't have guardianship over her. Okay? And if you don't have guardianship, they need to speak to Charity to make sure it's okay for me to continue cashing her checks to take care of the bills. At $5,000, they stopped that, which is fucking ridiculous to me because she can't speak and she can barely write. So fast forward here to today. Now they're trying to find a way to push her out. And they try to push her into a garbage-ass facility, and I said no. Now we need to have a family meeting here on Thursday. Charity just had the worst possible spades hand you could possibly have. And while I haven't given up, because her last words to me was, I love you. And I said, baby, what do you want to do? She goes, I want to walk. It means her mind was there. Her mind is still there. So, sorry about the extra long video. This is the entire up-to-date what's occurring now. No one can figure out what's wrong with her. And I'm getting ready to go back into war with them to find out why you haven't done certain processes. So, I thank y'all for just watching. Even if you scam through this or skim through this, please continue to donate. GoFundMe.com/Hevs Helpers, HEAVS Helpers. This does help with the bills and pay for things that charity may need that Medicaid just won't cover. So, I thank y'all. I love y'all. Y'all have a great day.